In a world without gods, but many wild monsters and ghosts were born, stupid people claiming to be God's ancestors. But when these distorted gods still need the sacrifices of the believers, when training boys and girls, you become the only person in the world who collects incense, the true god that can be earned. Although at this time, you're just a little mountain god in the middle of nowhere. But you are confident that you will soon be able to flourish. So when the mountain village you are guarding is hit by a major drought, the village chief also kidnapped boys and girls as usual. When I'm ready to sacrifice for you and beg for rain, but you've rushed to tell the villagers, just light 3 incense. Just kneel to your idol. However, just when you thought the villagers would be grateful, when I go home to pray for incense, the village chief has already brought double the number of boys and girls. Go to the river god of the next village, because there are no gods who don't need financial compensation. Boys and girls work for nothing. So they decided, you newborn mountain god must be a lack of divine power. Only in disguise did they reject their request for rain. Just when you were cursing the folly of the villagers, a thin girl in a coarse cloth enters the temple, and after igniting the 3 fragrant incense, pray to your idol devoutly for the village god. Pour some rain on my land. As long as the grain harvest is guaranteed, it's good that my family won't starve to death. As the green smoke burrows under the idol's nose, the wheels of destiny are finally spinning. Congratulations to the host for getting a 5-point incense fire. Successfully turned on incense system. Acquire believer incense achievements. Understand the jargon tips helping believers fulfill their wishes for the first time. Achievement rewards available. At this time, Leonio is bowing his head to irrigate the field. Feel the cool breeze on your forehead. Look up into the sky. Immediately, a trace of doubt and confusion emerged. Look up. Why is there a dark cloud floating on the ground in our house? Ah, a dark cloud is floating in the sky. Voice down. I feel the Lee family. People were looking up at the sky. As it turns out, at this moment, a dark cloud is gathering in the sky of my home. What's going on here? It's going to rain. This is too sudden, isn't it? The Lee mouse, who had just returned from the village temple, saw this scene. There was also a look of surprise in her eyes. He told his family that he had just made a wish to the mountain god. Then, just when a few people were still a little dumbfounded, the rainwater accumulated in the sky fell down. It's just very sparse. Because you cast the spell for the first time, plus insufficient incense and fire. The divine power in the body is being consumed extremely quickly, and the blacksmith Lee next door, looking at the rain falling in Lee Mouse's home, a flicker of doubt flashed on his face and said, this rain is so strange. Why is it only in your home, not under my house? Immediately, Lee Bano asked, Dad, this can't really be you. That little sister begged for it, right? I heard that Lee blacksmith asked again, Mouse, you really just went to the back mountain to pray for the mountain god. Didn't you go somewhere else to ask for the gods? At this point, Lee Mouse nodded emphatically and said, yes, this must be the mountain god who came to wish. But Dad Lee in his face showed a touch of tension, staring at my daughter Tao Mouse. What do you sacrifice when you make a wish? Gods don't work for nothing. Nothing. I ordered 3 incense sticks. I'm wishing for rain on our land. Heard Lian said confusedly, how can the gods talk so well? Rain takes a lot of mana. Aren't we village gods? Newborn gods? At this moment, doubts are pervading the heads of many people. I can't imagine how this mountain god can talk so well today. Immediately afterwards, Lee blacksmith, looking at the rain that fell on Li Shaoxi's home, alone, secretly determined, no, I have to try some tribute later. And Li He's face showed a look of anxiety. Hurry, 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 hurry. A few of you are coming with me to worship the village Kamiyama right now. Although God is not much in the way of greeting our family, but I have to say it all the same. First, go back and get some melons and fruits and steamed bread for the mountain gods. After all, my daughter didn't sacrifice anything. But I got the response of the gods falling rain. If you do not take the initiative to go to the sacrifice at this time, wait until the gods come to you for help. I really don't know what I'm going to ask for. Hey, wait for me. I also went to see the petition. Lee blacksmith also hurried home to prepare the sacrificial items. And at this time, you can't hold it anymore. Transform your body into a wisp of green smoke. I drifted back to the temple to rest. What you might not expect is, relying on this weak unspoken jargon, will acquire for themselves the sacrificial incense of dozens of people. Congratulations to the host for helping the believer for the first time. Receive the reward magical item cannon water flag. Kanji water flag can bring together the elements of water between heaven and earth. More convenient for gods to use nonverbal terminology. Reduce mana cost. Prompt the host to have 10 regular followers. New achievements can be earned. Soon Lee and the family's sacrifice will be ready. After hurrying out of the door, he walked in the direction of the village committee. Other than that, Lee blacksmith also took his 2 sons with him, with a piece of pork in his hand, right behind him. That's a good thing. The average villager does not see the holiday every year. The 2 families live very close. After meeting, we rushed to the Morale Mountain Shrine together. When the 2 of them had just arrived at the village main road, just in time to welcome the team of inviting the gods, the village chief who walked in the forefront looked at Lee and the others. Asked Lee and Lee blacksmith, the 2 of you drag home with Mount. What's this for? At this moment, he asked God's team behind him to be listless. Obviously, the river god did not invite him back. Soon, Lee Mouse's heart was straight, and he was the village chief and grandfather of the expressway. Let's go worship the mountain god. Worship the mountain gods. What are you going to worship the mountain gods for? Then Lee Mouse was excited to let things go. Tell it one by one. But I don't want everyone to hear it. Followed by a silence. Immediately afterwards, a burst of laughter broke out. If the Shinsei mountain gods in our village have divine power, those of us, is it still necessary to invite the river gods from Kawamura? At this time, even the village chief of the Lee family opened his mouth and said that Lee and Lee blacksmith, you are all big and young. Why do you still believe a child's jokes? Hurry home. Everyone should also say that these 2 families are really stunned. They said no, so they went home to work on their own. I've only just seen it rain. Lee He and Lee blacksmith look at each other. In the end, I decided to put incense on the mountain god, offer a tribute. Soon, a group of people arrived at the mountain temple. Placed the brought tribute behind the counter. The whole family lit the incense and started worshiping. Lee He turned his head. Take a look at a few sons and daughters at home. Dao remembered. Be sure to worship piously. At this moment, you sit in a small temple, looking out at the 2 families kneeling on the ground, and the 40 sparks you just got on the data panel. A look of excitement flashed across her face. Congratulations to the host for successfully harvesting a real name believer. Comprehend the divine ability. After Thunderfinger prompted to have the first devout and believer, new achievement rewards available. The believer level is divided into general support, devotion, fanaticism, and loyalty. And of the 11 believers in front of you, only Lee Mouse's level of belief is to support. Presumably, also the fastest to reach the devout and the faithful. Looks like you want to get new achievements as soon as possible. You can only work on Lee Mouse. After making a wish, the 2 families left the mountain temple with anticipation. But you didn't anxiously give them both. Rainfall in the fields, mainly because of the current hot sun day. Very little water in the air. I can't get too much rain. Let's wait till the sun goes down. and after descending the mountain, Lee Blacksmith and Lee, he and the two families. As soon as I entered the village, I crashed into the village mouth and the Lee mule, chatting about the river god problem. Then there was another wave of ridicule. You guys really went to the mountain temple to smell. If it rains like this, mountain gods can rain. My plum mule immediately rebuilt the temple for the mountain god. Lee Mouse immediately choked when he heard this. Okay then, you can't play dirty. Lee Mule laughed after listening. Indicates, no problem. The newly born mountain god has no offerings and expects him to come. It's better to be prepared. Continue to invite the river gods tomorrow. After the news spreads, soon the people in the village, he also began to laugh at Lee Blacksmith and Lee He and the two families. And when Lee Mouse returned home, so he found an opportunity to sneak into his own field. A pair of big water spirit eyes look at the sky, waiting for sunset. Time passes by minute by minute. The sun is slowly starting to set. Lee Mouse looks at the still dry air and sky. Isn't it really a mountain god after all? The other side. Enough rest. Look at the sky outside, then floated out of the mountain temple. Go to Lee Mouse and Lee Blacksmith's land. Over the years, you've gotten to know the village very well. Whose family's fields are there? You know all about it. No more than a few rushing orders. Rainfall solves people's worries. Voice down. Kanzi water banner windward lengthening. Fly to extremely high altitudes, obscured by clouds. Sure enough, after refining the Kanzi water flag, you condense the water elements much faster. It's also a lot easier. At the same time, because of the sight of incense fire today, it also leads to an increase in your divine power. A moor of dark clouds immediately turned into 3 moor of land. As the cool breeze swept over, the somewhat dazed Lee Mouse suddenly woke up. Stunned and unbelievable look in his eyes. It's raining. The mountain gods are here to spread the rain. The mountain gods are really here to rain. After. Lee Mouse's gaze hurriedly looked around. It turns out that only their own fields have dark clouds. I am more certain in my heart that this must be the mountain god. Father Buyu, come and see the mountain gods. Send rain. Excellent. At this moment, Lee Mouse's face was full of excitement, running all the way home. And after Lee Blacksmith and Lee, he heard Lee Mouse's voice, and rushed out of the house. A golden light path mouse flashed in his eyes. What is it? Is it really raining? This rain, Lee Blacksmith and Lee He have been looking forward to it for some time. As long as the rain can fall, crops make a living. This year, people won't starve at home. At least 1/3 of the people in the village have been starved to death in recent years. As for the other villages, it's all pretty much the same. Lee Mouse's Zing nodded emphatically. Immediately, the two families followed the main road, hurrying towards the field. Many villagers saw it along the way, although I don't know what happened. But driven by curiosity, or do you choose to follow along and have a look? However, these were the villagers who wanted to see the bustle. I saw a scene that made my life unforgettable. Originally, a clear sky, but suddenly the dark clouds are dense. Heavy rain started to fall. At this time, Lee Dan Yu's face flashed with excitement. It's raining in our field. It's really raining. But Lee Mule, who also laughed at the two families, was surprised. How did it rain? Why only Lee and family? And the other villagers who were accompanying them were also embarrassed. Could it be that the mountain god really appeared? The mountain gods of our village did not lie to us. Really just let 3 Incense and Neo. As the mentality of the villagers began to shake, Lee Blacksmith, who also asked you for rain before, her face was full of anxiety. Why is it raining only at Lee's house? Why don't you come to our house? However, just as he kept praying in his heart, the dark clouds in the sky also began to turn, slowly floating on the field in Lee Blacksmith's house. Finally, it started to rain on his family's land. At this moment, Lee Mouse looked at the clouds in the sky. The heart is full of piety. Next second, magnetic in front of your eyes, strips of flashing support and followers. Lee Mouse becomes devout and a believer. Congratulations to the host. Receive the first religious and believer achievement reward. Magical ability, Earth Escape believer, physical training tips. After meeting the requirement of 100 believers, new achievements available, seeing the joy in your heart. Originally, I was thinking of doing the art of Lee Mouse. Give the faith level a little bit of a mention. Never thought that he had become pious and faithful. However, at this moment, the magical power in your body is also rapidly consumed. Although there are canonical water flags to help, but I also saw the bottom very quickly. So you rushed to collect the kanji water flag, and drifted towards the small temple. And the land of Lee Blacksmith and Lee He's family has also been covered with a layer of moist soil. This is more effective than a family picking up water in a day. At the moment, the whole village both looked enviously at Lee Blacksmith and Lee He. Then the hunter from the Lee family village proposed to the village chief. Why don't we also ask for a mountain god? Maybe the mountain gods will help us too. Geographical silence. If that's the case, we don't have to sacrifice the boys and girls of the village in the future. I went to invite the river gods, along with the expectation of many villagers. After the village chief pondered for a long time, then go and prepare another sacrifice. But tomorrow, after worshipping the mountain god, we still have to go to Kamikawamura as usual to hire a river god, in case the mountain gods don't work. At least we'll bring the river god back. Even the villagers nodded in response when they heard. And Lee He looked at the Lee mules in the same village. Asked the plum mule, "Do you remember what you said? As long as the mountain gods can manifest and rebuild the temple for the mountain god." Right now, Lee Mule's face suddenly showed a look of embarrassment. However, at a time when Lee Mule is in a difficult situation, the village chief of the Lee family spoke like this, right? If Lord Mountain God appears tomorrow, you don't need a plum mule to fix the temple. What small temple can he repair alone? Maybe our village. Out of the grain and the child, offer money to build a bigger temple for Lord Mountain God. Hear this. The villagers nodded. After, the village headman of the Lee family thought about it and then spoke of the Lee mule. You go to the temple of Lord Mountain God and kneel down. Take the tribute and kneel for the night. Your previous words, if you provoke Lord Mountain God to be unhappy, you know the consequences? I'll be right there. I'm going to kneel. The plum mule was trembling with fear, rushing towards home to rummage for tribute, and the crowd quickly disbanded. Go home individually. After all, it's not safe outside the village after dark. Wild ghosts and wild demons often appear. Find villagers outside the village, hunting flesh and blood and essence. So in the middle of every village, there will be a mysterious stone. The people in the village called him village food. As long as the village food is, wild ghosts and demons do not dare to approach the village. But on the 1st and 15th of each month, the power of village food will decay. Wild ghosts and demons will rush into the village to eat people. So on the 1st and 15th nights of every month, the villagers in Ligia village will find a way to hide, and the other villages that have gods, because there are gods and spirits to protect. You don't have to worry about that. As the sky gets darker, on the quiet outside of the village, a ferocious-looking ghost and demon also started wandering around constantly. Villagers searching for left behind. At this moment, Lee Mule knelt in front of the mountain temple early. A somewhat frightened look looked around. After all, the mountain temple is not within the scope of the village. If you are encountered by a monster or ghost in the mountains, then I'll be dead today. Lord Mountain God. The disciples have come to incense you, Lord Hope of the Mountains, to be able to protect the disciple peacefully tonight. The disciple will never dare again. Never again. Lee Mule's voice trembled. Trembling and trembling, the 3 fragrant incense was placed above the incense burner in front of you. Normal believer Lee Mule with 3-point incense. So, after you have added 3 points of divine power to the incense fire refining divine karn, and took took out the believer's refinement method obtained today. But then you think, or do you wait until you have a faithful believer? Consider teaching its refining method again. Time flies. After Li Mu knelt overnight, finally, I couldn't help but fall to the ground and fell asleep. The night of the season, the forest at the foot of the mountain is always shady. So you waved a big hand in a small temple. Countless fallen leaves flew up and landed on the Li Mule. Anyway, in the end, the Li Mule is a believer who provides himself with incense. The next day, the plum mule lying on the ground slowly opens his eyes, looking at the piles of fallen leaves on his body. Look around again. Suddenly realized, no wonder I didn't feel cold last night. But how did this fallen leaf get to me? Could it be a mountain god? That's right, it must be the mountain god, looking at a pile of fallen leaves in front of you. Li Mule's heart is very excited. Maybe last night, Lord Mountain God. He also resisted the attack of some ghost demon for himself. Thank you, Lord Mountain God. Not counting previous suspects. Thank you, Lord Mountain God. The disciple will give you incense. At this moment, Li Mule's face, full of excitement, hurry to pick up the incense next to it. Ignites inside your incense burner. Incense on one side, while devoutly, the mountain gods are so wonderful, actually taking such good care of his followers. If this were any other god, it wouldn't matter. It's not bad if you haven't sucked your essence key. Li Mule also thought for the first time, the gods may have a good temper. The following entry flashes in front of you. Qingshan and Believersville, add 15 incense to the mule. Forward-looking in believers, looks like you did the right thing last night. Sweep the fallen leaves at will, and swept to a believer who was ahead of him. It seems like this god also, it's not hard to do. Soon after dawn, the mayor of Lichia village took the villagers with him, come to worship the mountain god. Huge group of people, about 50 people, but the people in the back will invite the river god's flower sedan. Hannah, put the drums and stuff in the distance. It seems to be afraid of causing the Lord Mountain god's dissatisfaction. Right now, Li Mule is following the village chief. Her face was full of excitement. Describe what happened last night. The mayor of the village, Yamagami, appeared last night. It's really spiritual. My plum mule never lies. Yesterday's rain and today's Li Mule's words are one step at a time to convince people. It seems that this mountain god is really different from other gods. This makes the people who originally wanted to perfume it and gradually began to change their mindset. If so, that does have to be religious. Maybe I can be taken care of by the gods in the future. With the Li Mule over and over again, excited, repeating what happened last night. A lot of people are starting to become more religious. Some have been removed from ordinary believers into advocating for believers' daily offer of incense. Naturally, it has increased a lot. Still, some believers are skeptical. At this time, a clan elder standing next to the head of the Li family village asked the village chief, "This time we're only offering one pig. Will Lord Mountain God send us rain? This is too little, right?" And when the head of the Li family listened, then the tone is majestic, and I have my own idea. Smell the bow. Soon more than 50 people will be kneeling in front of your temple. After Li He and Li Blacksmith lifted the pig's head to the supply stage, I put some fruit and melon snacks on the nest head. He followed the village chief's instructions and kowtowed with the crowd. Zhuangji, the village head of the Li family, was the first to stand up. Wash your hands in the well-placed sink next door. That's when you pick up the 3 incense sticks and apply the incense. Advocate level believer, Li family village chief plus 8 o'clock incense fire. Devout believer, Li Blacksmith 1-6. Shanghuo, ordinary believers, Li family villagers, plus 1, Shanghuo. Fanatical believer, Li Mouse with 40 incense fires. At this moment, you look at the incense fire in front of you and it keeps beating. Very satisfied, nodded. Isn't this getting better? After the worship event, take a look at your own personal dashboard. 260 hints of incense. This fragrant fire is really a lot. If I can come once a day in the future, your own strength improvement must not be rubbed against the rise. Next second, the mayor of Legia Kun's face was full of devotion and earnestness.